Hello everyone, my name is Ishield Pendragon, and I would like to welcome you to my library. Let's start today by talking about the difference between fairy tales, legends, and myths. This is not to discount their many similarities as well. Legends are the easiest to explain, so I am going to start there. Legends are the adventures and misadventures of well-known, if larger-than-life individuals. There might be some historical accuracy in that the people the legends center around actually existed. One clear example that most of you have heard about is from the Iliad. The Iliad itself is both myth and legend, with the myth being primarily, though not entirely, at the beginning. However, Sparta was long known to be a real location, as there were many other Greek city-states mentioned. Troy, on the other hand, was thought to be fake at worst and a renamed location at best. Then in 1871, an archaeological site was found that matched all the known characteristics of Troy, including having been burnt and was surrounded by Greek artifacts. A more recent example is in the Arthurian legends. There does appear to have been an Arthur who conquered and ruled in Britain, probably around the 6th century, but I can't find anything definitive from before the 8th to 10th centuries. The values subscribed to him and his courts, particularly the highly Christian godly leadership, were most certainly added later, early medieval rather than squarely Dark Ages, and seem to have originated with the court poets' and scholars' attempts to entertain the ladies of the courts. Having touched briefly upon myths, let's go over those next. To be blunt, myths are when the deities interact with mortals, our own world, and each other. Remember the Iliad? The whole thing gets kicked off by a beauty contest between 3 goddesses, including the goddess of love and beauty. They make Paris choose, offer him different gifts, he picks a gift and starts a war in the process. I'm sure most people have at least a passing familiarity with the Iliad and know the gifts from there. Myths are probably the most common type of storytelling in all of history, and certainly the oldest recorded and identifiable is the Epic of Gilgamesh, at least as far as I'm aware. It is the most diverse, with hundreds of different religions, each with hundreds of thousands of different individual tales, from the Egyptian temple hieroglyphs to Celtic Druidism, from Nordic sagas, Greek and Roman pantheons, and the Chinese Confucianism and ancestor worship, to Judaism, Islam and Christianity, Hindi, Buddhism, Zoroastrianism, and so many more, including, in a way, science. Nowadays, myths are printed and passed around like that, where they would have originally have been oral tales. Mythologicalized history is common in older religions, with the Bible being the best-known case, with nearly all mentioned sites having been identified by archaeologists and most of the large-scale events. As for why this is, recording personal and national events is considered a religious act in Abrahamic religions, with Judaism and Islam also having sacred writings considered to be literal history. But of course, sometimes you just need a spooky story to keep your small child from talking to randos and going into the woods alone and getting eaten. After all, there are wolves, bears, lions, snakes, and who knows what else ready and willing to kill and eat a small child. Out come the fairy tales! Now, where the legends are over-exaggerated, incorrectly attributed feats surrounding a probable historical figure or figures, and myths involve deities, fairy tales include magic, and typically poorly defined magic at that. Into this category go witches and wizards, talking animals and other mythological creatures. unicorns and other mythological creatures, talking animals. Werewolves, vampires, enchanted objects, fae, including both the fairy godmother version from Disney's Cinderella and the utterly terrifying Sheed. And even, sadly, yes, dragons such as myself. Overly large snakes, like anacondas, don't count. This is why the American South has the legend of John Henry, but the tales of Paul Bunyan and Babe the Blue Ox. Similar to legends, many elements of fairy tales have roots in real things, while others are made up. Werewolves seem to come mostly from rabies infections, while vampires address that decomposing bodies bloat and shift in the grave, and dragons are the hazardous wildlife combined with fossils. Some notable fairy tales as warnings come from those collected by the Brothers Grimm. Little Red Riding Hood, Briar Rose, The 12 Dancing Princesses, and so many other well-known tales served as warnings of the woods, of attempting to subvert fate, of neglecting hospitality, of making deals with unknown and unknowable creatures. Fairy tales combine very readily with myths and legends, to the point that it can be hard to draw clear defining lines between the three. Fairy tales blend with legends in the Arthurian legends, the court wizard Merlin, the sorceress Morgan Le Fay, through the Lady of the Lake and Excalibur the Sword, and other aspects. Myths seep in through the addition of the Holy Grail and by making the central characters Christian. Fairy tales seep into myths and the Catholic saints, with the best example that I can think of being St. Patrick driving the stakes from Ireland. In short, legends, myths, and fairy tales are very similar. Intertwined, they form cultural identities, shape behaviors, and make values, and make us laugh while doing so. They praise virtues and action with legends and warn us in fairy tales. Myths give us reasons and explanations for natural phenomena and our own experiences. I'm glad you came, and I hope to see you again. Bye!